Another sellout crowd at Arrowhead Stadium. Almost 80,000 set to watch the visiting Indianapolis Colts take on the Kansas City Chiefs. And the volume will be pumped up even more today when you consider the playoff picture. The look at the AFC wild card race. The Chiefs are in the playoffs with a win today, and the Indianapolis Colts keep their hopes alive with a victory today. And hi, everybody. Dan Hicks along with Bob Trumpy. And Kansas City, not only a huge game for them, a win gets them in the playoffs, but they're trying to erase that dismal memory of the Monday night in Oakland when they had their worst offensive output in 6 years.
They don't even want to talk about it. But what happened last Monday night is because the Raiders got off to such a quick start, Kansas City couldn't really get into their game plan. Their game plan is to run the football. And the responsibility then lies on these two running backs. Marcus Allen, we know about. Greg Hill. If those two guys can combine for about 30 carries today, that's the game plan Marty Schottenheimer wants, and I think Kansas City can win.
Well, this is where the Cinderella playoff run began last year for the Colts. Remember, the Kansas City Chiefs, heavily favored, lost that game, but they seem to be writing an even better script this year, the Colts do, with all the injuries they have. What are they still doing alive for the playoffs?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I'm not sure anybody's got the answer, but they got a key member back. It's Marshall Faulk. Last week, his first 100-yard rushing game of the 1996 season. He also had 7 catches, so that's more like Marshall Faulk. He is the wild card in this offense. They deploy him a lot of different ways, and if he's healthy, can run, he can intimidate and embarrass any defense in the NFL.
Speaking of getting healthy and being able to run, another key for the Indianapolis Colts will be the effectiveness of Jim Harbaugh. He is back today, but back after missing the last 2 games with a knee injury. The kickoff is next, but first we go to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's get you caught up now on the scores as they are around the league. The final in from Texas Stadium. The Cowboys knock off the New England Patriots by a score of 12-6. Cowboys needed a win to clinch a division title, and they got it. 9-6 Dallas, third quarter. Drew Bledsoe's pass right through Ben Coates into the hands of Darren Woodson, who returns 21 yards to the Patriot 4. They settled for one of 4 field goals by Chris Bonio, and the Cowboys clinched their 5th straight NFC East title, 12-6 over the Patriots. In Pittsburgh, the Steelers have just been beaten by the San Francisco 49ers, 25-15 the score there. The 49ers improve to 11-4. The Steelers fall to 10-5. In Carolina, the Panthers 27-16 over the Baltimore Ravens. Kerry Collins flushed out of the pocket, rolls right, hits Mark Carrier for a 6-yard touchdown pass. 17-13 Panthers the score there, and the Panthers on a roll looking for their 6th straight win. They lead at 27-16 over the Ravens. In the Silverdome in Pontiac, the Lions falling to the Green Bay Packers today, 31-3 the final score. The Packers improved to 12-3. In Minnesota, the Vikings winners again, 21-10. They remain in the playoff hunt. They need a win next week, and they are in the postseason. In the Meadowlands, the New Orleans Saints about to snap a 7-game losing streak. They lead the Giants late, 17-3. And in Atlanta, the St. Louis Rams, looking to go 5-10 on the year, lead the Falcons 34-27. We'll send you to the kickoffs in Denver, Kansas City, and Houston right after this.
Welcome back. A little bit of a cold snap has moved into the Kansas City area. Temperature 36 degrees. Wind chill at 15 degrees, mostly having to do with the gusting winds, 15 to 20 miles an hour. Lindy Infante, the captain of the NFL's MASH unit, started off 4-0, then lost 5 of 6. His team back in it, injury depleted, having won 3 of their last 4. And Marty Schottenheimer, head coach of Kansas City, trying to get his team into the playoffs for the 7th consecutive year. That's the longest current NFL streak. Kicking off for the Kansas City Chiefs will be Louis Aguiar, and back deep for the Indianapolis Colts will be Aaron Bailey. A game laden with playoff implications. Kansas City needing a win to get in. They don't want to lose today and have to depend on going to Buffalo to get a victory next week. And the Colts, of course, have to keep on winning. Low kick to the left by Aguiar, and it's taken by Cliff Gross. And Gross pounds his way across the 25 to the 27, and that is where captain comeback and the Colts will begin. Jim Harbaugh's missed the last 2 games with a knee injury and wearing that heavy knee brace on his left knee, also taped up very heavily.
And what did he tell us last night? He scoots more than he runs. He had to convince Lindy Infante early this week that he was going to be fine, and he had to also convince the doctors that there was no jeopardy to further damage the knee.
He also admitted to us that it would be a bit of an experiment to see how he feels. Infante will leave him in there as long as he feels good enough. From the 29, the give is to Marshall Faulk, and Faulk gets maybe a yard as we set the Indianapolis offense for you. Up front, In front of Harbaugh, Matthews, Wydell, Loudermilk, Leuenberg, and Tony Mandarich, whose career has been resurrected in Indianapolis. Falk coming off his very first 100-yard game of the year in the last game. Blocking back is Gross, Dawkins, and Marvin Harrison, an impressive rookie wide receiver out of Syracuse, and the tight end Ken Dilger. And there is Tony Mandarich at right tackle, starting for the 4th straight game. And that is Falk in motion to the far side, and Harbaugh will go to him. And Falk will maybe get just a couple of yards before he's wrapped up by Kansas City's William White. As we set the Chiefs defense for you up front, well, they are losing 3 starters. John Browning, rookie out of West Virginia, starts for the injured Von Booker. Keith Traylor starting for the injured Dan Saliamui. Derek Thomas will go to his 8th consecutive Pro Bowl, but the big insertion into the cornerback position for Kansas City is Tony Stargell in for the injured Dale Carter, a Pro Bowler 3 straight years. As you look at Derek Thomas on 3rd down and 5. Harbaugh working out of the shotgun. Flags come in and stop play. And Harbaugh indicating it's on the Chiefs, and we'll hear for the first time from Tom White.
Encroachment, number 94, defense. That's a 5-yard penalty.
And it is on Keith Traylor, filling in for Dan Saliamua, out with an injured shoulder. Traylor missed last game with a shoulder injury of his own, so the Chiefs also hurting on defense.
I think Colts are waiting here for a measurement to see if it's going to be a first down on the 5 yards. Yeah, they're going to.
And they'll give it to him.
They'll give it to him. The big key in this game for the Colts is how mobile is Jim Harbaugh? Can he run around? I think he can avoid the rush. But in last year's playoff game, he was so devastating to the Chiefs with his scrambles for first down. That's a big part of this offense.
And they have played up that first-round loss in the local media this week in Kansas City when the Colts beat the Chiefs 10-7 here on Arrowhead. Harbaugh back to pass on first down, and it's complete to Marvin Harrison, and Harrison with a first down into Chief territory at the 48, brought out of bounds by Derek Thomas. Harrison had his very first 100-plus yard receiving game last week, along with Falk's 100-yard game.
Comes in motion, handed off from Stargell to other people, and it's just a shallow crossing pattern. Now they've got Derek Thomas playing more linebacker in 1996. He's out there in coverage, but this Indianapolis offense, the idea is to spread it around all over the field, get as many receivers involved in the game plan as you can.
1st and 10 from the Kansas City 48, and Falk tries his luck again and maybe gets a couple of yards. Falk continues to battle his way back from a toe injury, which he suffered in the 2nd week of the season, and every week he gets asked the same question, is it better? And he says, well, a little bit, but he's not 100%.
Yeah, won't be until the season's over. The good thing, they've been able to play him back into shape. He's been able to practice during the week, and Lindy can count on him a little more in each game.
From the 45, 2nd down and 7. And the late give to Marshall Falk, and Falk this time has a first down, and he's inside the 30-yard line, down to the 28. William White brought him down, but not before a gain of 17 for Falk, who got off to an early start in the Colts' last game against Philadelphia.
See all those guys up at the line of scrimmage? The Chiefs had 6 defensive backs. This is a great call by Lindy and Fonte. They spread the defense and then come with the draw. And one of the things Indianapolis does is with the spread offense, they run Marshall Falk out as a receiver. That time kept him in the backfield. Big pickup.
Impressive victories for the Colts in the last 2 games. Overtime win over Buffalo and a win over Philadelphia 10 days ago. And impressive in this opening drive in Kansas City. But Falk gets wrapped up there quickly and might have lost a half yard.
You know, amazing thing about Kansas City's defense. From 20 to 20, they've allowed a lot of yards, but inside the 20, suddenly this defense changes personality. One of the best defenses inside the 20 you can find in the NFL. But the one thing they've not done this year that they've done in previous years is get consistent turnovers and sacks on the quarterback.
Marty Schottenheimer looking for his 6th 10-win seasons in 8 years in Kansas City. 2nd down and 11. And the officials have stopped play again.
Timeout. Kansas City is motioned.
And we will take a timeout. Opening moments from Kansas City. Colts on the move.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered. By Buick and your local dealers. Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. By Staples, the office superstore. And by IBM. Season's greetings to a small planet from everyone at IBM.
Crisp December day here in Kansas City, and an impressive opening drive for the Indianapolis Colts, who began at their own 28, now at the Chief 30, but faced with 2nd down and long. Call it 11. Harbaugh back to pass, swings it out to Falk. And Falk just about gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and ought to bring up 3rd and long.
We can certainly tell that Marshall Falk is already a lot healthier than we've seen him earlier in the season. He's been involved in most of the plays. Just as valuable as a pass receiver as he is a running back, because it makes the defense declare you either cover him with a safety or a linebacker. And that dictates to the quarterback and the head coach just how much they're going to get the ball to Marshall Falk.
Marshall Falk looking for his 3rd straight 50-plus receiving season. 3rd down and 10. Plenty of wideouts for Harbaugh in the shotgun. In fact, 5. And he's got his man over the middle, complete down to the 15-yard line. That is Brian Stabline, number 86. Brought down by Mark Collins, a gain of 15 for the Colts.
And a non-pattern. Here's Stabline. The Chiefs choose to go with a zone, and Stabline just up one of the seams. Just a quick 3-step drop by Jim Harbaugh. He knows right where he's going. This is a beautiful offense when everyone's healthy and it functions properly.
Just the way the Colts wanted to begin this game. Another 1st down. Falk gets the carry. Knifing in close to the 5-yard line. And close to another 1st down. Mark Collins from his safety position bringing down Falk. He got off to a quick start, I mentioned, in the big win over Philadelphia, which was a blowout for the Colts, and he's off to another good start against Kansas City today.
He's not going to gain 1,000 yards this season because of all the injuries, but what a wild card. I mean, there's no way you can properly defense Marshall Falk.
2nd down, less than a yard. And now Harbaugh seems to be a little confused and calls timeout.
Marshall Falk walked up to him and said, wait a minute, I don't know what's going on here. Marshall Falk probably helped the Colts right there not to make a mistake.
We'll take another break.
This is the NFL on NBC.
Interesting little exchange here on that last snap. You see Harbaugh turns around to Marshall Falk. Now Harbaugh's going to look up at the 25-second clock. What's that? I think he's got the wrong formation in where they call timeout. In the scoring zone here, you don't want to make a dumb mistake.
Harbaugh trying to sneak his way in for the 1st down, and it appears he got it. It'll be 1st and goal for the Colts, and an impressive opening drive. That was the 10th play. They've gone nearly 7 minutes, and Kansas City has been very efficient against teams getting into the red zone. In fact, the 5th best in the league.
Yeah, winning record, winning record, winning record, winning record. New Orleans is the only one without, but obviously the Colts didn't get that little clip from the league. They don't care about the red zone defense of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Marty Schottenheimer says that red zone defense has saved his team. It's been very inconsistent in other areas. On 1st and goal, Falk gets the call and knifes down to the 2-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and goal. His 100-yard game in the last game was not only his 1st of the season, but the 1st in 26 games for Marshall Falk, who made the Pro Bowl in each of his first 2 years, and who has accounted for such a large percentage of the Colts offense. And that is a look at what the Colts have done last in the AFC inside the 20.
I'm convinced these players don't pay any attention to those kind of numbers. How about you?
2nd and goal. Play action. Harbaugh rolling to his right. Cliff Gross incomplete. Off his chest at the 5-yard line. 3rd and goal. On the coverage was Brian Washington.
Gross not the primary receiver. Watch the action that happens right here. They try to pick somebody off, but both tight ends can't clear, and so Harbaugh throws it to the only guy who really is open. Gross does not catch it, which does not surprise me. There have been a few bounce off Cliff Gross so far this season.
That would have been just the 12th catch for Gross all season, but key play, and they rise as one in Arrowhead Stadium on 3rd and goal. And out of the shotgun, Harbaugh looking to the end zone, and Dawkins gets in. Touchdown, Indianapolis.
Boy, he just reached that ball over the goal line.
2nd touchdown of the season. And the Colts cap off an impressive opening drive.
You're going to see the end of this play. Marvin Harrison acts like a veteran here, not a rookie. Catches the ball, then stretches it across the goal line. If the point of the ball breaks the plane of the goal line, touchdown, score.
Excuse me, I did call Dawkins. It was Marvin Harrison, the rookie out of Syracuse, and on to tack on the extra point is Kerry Blanchard. And an impressive opening drive for the Colts, capped off on the touchdown pass by Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh ecstatic on the sidelines after the Colts put together a huge opening drive, which chewed up 8 minutes, 13 plays. And Marshall Faulk was involved in 8 of those 13 plays. Tamarick Vanover comes up to receive the kick and gets just across the 30-yard line, so it's been a long time in waiting for Rich Gannon and the Kansas City Chiefs to get on the field. And a reminder, next Saturday, NBC Sports has more NFL action starting at the special time of 12 noon Eastern time, and then watch as Drew Bledsoe and the New England Patriots try to bounce back from their 12-6 loss to Dallas today. They'll head to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Giants. It's a special Saturday edition of the NFL on NBC next Saturday starting at 12 noon Eastern time. So here is Rich Gannon and the Chiefs to begin at the 31. And the handoff is to Kimball Anders, who's fresh off his 2nd Pro Bowl starting assignment. As we take a look at the offensive line up front, John Alt, the 13-year veteran, back starting for the first time in 6 games. He's had a bad back, and Will Shields, another Pro Bowl selection at right guard. We mentioned Anders on his way to the Pro Bowl again. The incomparable future Hall of Famer Marcus Allen, inexperience on the wideout positions with Penn and LaChapelle. But there is 76 John Alt, who was pressed into service last week. He wasn't even supposed to play. Gain of 4 or 5 for Anders, and Gannon back to pass on 2nd down. And out of the backfield is Marcus Allen. And Marcus Allen finding a way again to pick up the 1st down. As we set the Colt defense for you, Indianapolis decimated by injuries mostly on this side of the ball. Whittington, McCoy, Johnson, and Bennett up front. They do have a couple of players back this week, including Stephen Grant at the linebacker position, and Ray Buchanan is back after missing the last 3 games with a thigh injury. And there is Ray Buchanan in his 4th year out of Louisville. 1st and 10 for the Chiefs, trying to answer the Colts' impressive opening drive, and Marcus Allen gets the card.
You know, we didn't mention Marcus Allen's injury. Still that nagging back problem, probably just from all the years of pounding and everything else, but he came out almost 3 hours early today to loosen the back up, try to go as long as he possibly can, and said it hurts to get down your stance. Well, you know, he's going to have some discomfort today then, because you do get down in your stance every once in a while playing the football.
Marcus Allen said the back went out on him the Friday before the Monday night game against Oakland, and he's been hurting from it ever since. As Kimball Anders gets the call on 2nd down, maybe a yard or 2 before he's piled up by a host of Colts, including Stephen Grant.
Well, what Marty Schottenheimer has in mind here is run as much as they possibly can. With the loss of receivers, like Dawson out for the season, Tamarick Vanover has been little or nothing for the Chiefs all year long. They have to control the line of scrimmage, and actually 3rd down and situations like this, 3rd down and 6, not comfortable for the Chiefs and Rich Gannon.
Gannon sets and fires, and it's complete at the 40-yard line, and that is Chris Penn. A first down for the Chiefs, quickly into Colts territory. Brought down by Diedrich Mathis. A gain of 16 for Penn.
This is a nice catch. Man-to-man coverage. Mathis 26 right on Penn. A big receiver who in college caught passes from Gus Frerotte. But a nice little square-in pattern there. Penn goes up for it. Not a great throw by Rich Gannon, but a completion.
In relief for Rich Gannon. What a dismal Monday night he had against Oakland Trump. He was 12 of 33 for 88 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. It was one of those offensive outputs and evenings the Chiefs would like to forget. This time that is off the hand of Sean LaChapelle, but this is Rich Gannon's third start since taking over for Steve Bono.
Interesting too. When we talked to him, he's Bono's roommate. So he's very sensitive to Bono being on the sidelines, because when he was in Minnesota, he was replaced by Sean Salisbury in almost a very similar situation. So he's the more outgoing of the two quarterbacks. Marty Schottenheimer wants a little more activity out of the quarterback, a little more movement, and Gannon gives them that factor.
Second down and 10, just inside the 40-yard line. Marcus Allen trying to turn something out of nothing. Maybe went ahead for 1 yard. Tony Bennett makes the stop for the Colts.
I think we got to watch Marcus get up after each tackle. See how that back might affect it. He did say that standing around is going to be the worst thing for it. He's trying to keep it as warm as possible, but at his age, and when you get a back problem, it's hard to get over and still have some football games to play.
36 years old, Marcus Allen. Third down conversions for the Chiefs. Faced now with 3rd and 9. And Gannon with time fires, and his receiver hadn't turned around really. That was Penn, who never had a shot at it. Tony McCoy was pressuring Gannon, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Again, excellent coverage by Diedrich Mathis, number 26. Penn is trying to ride off of the contact, and he slips a little bit. There's plenty of contact there, but I think the slip was the thing that affected the pattern more than the contact from Diedrich Mathis.
So in comes Louis Aguiar for his first punt. And back at the 10-yard line is Ray Buchanan for the Colts. Indianapolis with a 7-0 lead. Aguiar trying to pin him down. And Buchanan comes up and makes the fair catch at the 13-yard line. 2:57 left in the first. And the Colts are on top, 7-zip. Welcome back to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Impressive opening drive for the Colts as they chewed up over 8 minutes to get the touchdown and the 7-0 lead over the Chiefs. And really, it was played up in the local media this week. A lot of people still feel that the Chiefs and Marty Schottenheimer feeling the emotional scars left by the Colts when they upset Kansas City in Arrowhead last year in the first round of the playoffs. And out in front early here, Harbaugh going deep downfield to Marvin Harrison. And he can't. Oh, yes, he did make the catch close to the 50-yard line. He was spun around and made the catch. Brian Washington lost a step on Harrison at an important time.
And it's Stargell bump and run coverage. This kid does not play like a rookie. You see their feet kind of tangle up. Look at that acrobatic move by Marvin Harrison to make the catch. Whoa! My goodness. He has been a huge contributor for the Colts all season long because he got there so early and knows the system now so well.
Number 1 pick, 19th pick overall this year for the Colts. He's got the touchdown reception as well as Marshall Faulk gets the delay and a lot of room and close to another first down. Brought down by Tony Stargell.
They refer to this as a sprint draw. Quarterback sprints out to the running back and hands him the ball. You can see the gaping hole that he runs through. A good job by Mandrich pushing Neil Smith to the outside. Look, he's what, 9, 10, maybe 11 yards downfield before a Chief makes any contact. Stargell with the tackle. This is the kind of offense that Marty Schottenheimer wanted for the Chiefs when he offered Lindy and Funny the job here.
That's right. Infante served as the offensive coordinator for Schottenheimer in Cleveland back in 86 and 87. Second down and short. Flag comes in as Faulk gets the carry.
He picks up the first down, and the flag is going to be on Kansas City. No question. Again, after Lindy Infante left Green Bay, sitting down in St. Augustine, Florida, building a house. Here's the call by the referee.
Offside, number 94, defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
On Keith Traylor.
Anyway, Marty called Lindy Infante, and Lindy said, you know, I'm in the middle of building this house. I'm still sour about what happened in Green Bay. I don't want to coach. And the two are great friends. Their wives are even better friends.
And Marshall Faulk is racking up some pretty good yards already. 7 carries for 40 yards. And the Colts with another first down at the Chief 37. Deep drop by Harbaugh. Ooh. And batting it away at the line of scrimmage is John Browning, who almost had an interception.
My goodness, I don't know how he missed it.
Harbaugh threw it right in his face mask.
Yeah, here's Browning up here. And you're going to see the offensive left tackle Matthews lets him in and then tries to cut him. Browning does a great, jeez, maybe a stamp. I don't know. Hand delivered.
Well, he's just a rookie, 3rd-round pick out of West Virginia, and again filling in for the starter Vaughn Booker, who is out of the lineup with an ankle injury. 2nd down and 10. Another deep drop by Harbaugh. Has all day, and wide open is Harrison. And he gets in for his 2nd touchdown. 37 yards.
Whoa. Arrowhead Stadium has gone silent.
4 catches, 87 yards already for Harrison, and he's got Schottenheimer and the Chiefs really worried now.
Well, that's twice now that they've gone to Harrison. One time he was on man-to-man coverage. This is a zone that Marvin Harrison runs through. That was a beautifully thrown ball by Jim Harbaugh. And they went 85 yards in a hurry there, Dan.
And Kerry Blanchard tacks on the extra point. 2 impressive drives by the Colts to take the 14-0 lead.
Well, we mentioned earlier that he doesn't play like a rookie. Here he is, goes inside this man, and then for the corner, and the coverage drops him. Now, Harbaugh has plenty of time to throw the ball, and he waits and waits and waits, and the safety on that side, it looks like Mark Collins, 25, is just slow. Watch Mark Collins right there. Out there in the quarter. He's been very slow to break to the outside. And another outstanding catch by Marvin Harrison. Harbaugh, what's the big deal?
4 plays, 85 yards. That went under 2 minutes, and Marty Schottenheimer's team down 14-0. And remember, a loss today by the Chiefs, and they have to head to Buffalo with their playoff hopes on the line. The last thing they want to do.
Absolutely. And of course, again, with their emphasis on the run, you're down 14-0. It eliminates a lot of the run. They got to throw it, and this offense is not set up for Gannon to throw the ball 40 or 45 times to win. So already first quarter, they are not looking very comfortable.
How about building the confidence of Jim Harbaugh, who is 7 of 9 for 105 yards and a couple of touchdown passes. He really wasn't sure. He told us how he'd feel. He did use that word scoot, that he would scoot along as far as using his mobility, but he has been impressive so far. To Mark Vanover right up the middle across the 35. Bowling his way across the 40. So Kansas City will begin with good field position. Diedrich Mathis on the stop of Vanover.
28 yards on the return.
Well, experience the NFL all week long on NFL.com, the official website of the National Football League. You go there for all the tackles, all of the touchdowns, and a live game day scoreboard. Click on NFL.com.
Chiefs would like to click on NFL.do something.
The Colts have been clicking, and the Kansas City brain trust.
Paul Hackett right there, the offensive coordinator, down 14-0. We're already at the key drive stage of this game.
From the 40, the Chiefs begin, and Marcus Allen with that familiar lean close to the 45-yard line, brought down by Jeff Harrod, the middle linebacker for the Colts.
And Dan, if you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't think you can pick out a game breaker that they have on offense. They're just not there. When Lake Dawson got hurt, and also Tamark Vanover, this is a plotting type of offense. They look for breaks, turnovers on the defense, the short field. They don't get it quickly, generally speaking.
We asked Marty Schottenheimer about it. He said we're just about a 9-5 team. That's about right where we should be. Gannon over the middle, incomplete. He wanted Danon Hughes. But Marty Schottenheimer said we're very inexperienced at the wide receiver position. We have to run and have to run throughout to take charge of football games and win football games, because when we're forced to pass, it becomes a very different situation as you look at Steve Bono.
Yeah, and I think part of Steve Bono's problems, I mean, remember, this guy's 20-9 as a Kansas City Chiefs starter, but when you've got to put your quarterback in there to throw and throw a lot, it exposes their weakness.
And Marty Schottenheimer has designated Gannon as the starter for the remainder of the season. This is not temporary, at least that's what he says. That's a good reason why Schottenheimer got him into the lineup, because of his mobility, and he's got Chris Penn for a first down for Kansas City into Colt territory.
This is one of the main reasons Gannon is the starting quarterback, not Bono. Bono loves to stay in the pocket. You can see Gannon goes back, sets up a little pressure, and then out, and is still looking down the field to make the completion. Penn does a great job of coming back, making the completion and the first down. Mathis again, bump and run coverage. This Penn does a great job making himself available. That's a nice first down pickup.
End of one in Kansas City. The Chiefs find themselves on the short end of a 14-0 score. We're back for the kickoff of the second.
San Francisco 25,
Ready for the start of the second quarter. That is Kerwin Bell on the right of your screen. He's the backup quarterback today. Paul Justin, who started the last game for the Colts, was hurt, and Kerwin Bell came in, took his very first NFL snaps. So he's the backup quarterback in case Harbaugh gets hurt today. Rich Gannon handing off to Marcus Allen, and Allen has a first down inside the 30. Marcus Allen set the NFL records this year already. Rushing touchdowns, games played by a running back, receptions by a running back, and seems to be ageless at age 36.
Double tight end formation. What they're trying to do is just shove the Colts anywhere they want to go and leave Marcus Allen with the opportunity to break inside or outside. Does a good job. Trev Alberts kind of gets caught up there on the tight end. Marcus Allen takes advantage of it.
From the 29, Chiefs with a first down, trailing 14-0. And they give it to Allen again. And Allen this time is wrestled down by number 56, Tony Bennett. Let's take a scoring update.
All right, Dan, in Denver, the Broncos trying to put Oakland's scoring lights out for the season. Terrell Davis from 3 yards out offsets an Oakland field goal, and the Denver Broncos with a 7-3 lead on the Raiders. 47 seconds left in the first quarter, Dan.
All right, thank you, Greg. The Broncos definitely wanting to come back after the embarrassment to Green Bay last week. Leading Oakland, and that came out mile high. The Chiefs trailing 14-zip. Sean LaChapelle for another Kansas City first down. Jeff Harrod makes the stop, and Kansas City's offense beginning to click on this series. An important one you mentioned.
Yeah, and LaChapelle, interesting guy, played last spring in the World League, was the league's most valuable player, so he's gone through now close to 30 games, 2 training camps. At some point, this kid's going to get worn out. But very sure hands, tall, lanky receiver.
So it's Anders and Allen in behind Gannon on first down. And a fake to Allen. Gannon swings it out to Kimball Anders. And Anders heading for the end zone, and a touchdown. That one good for 18 yards. It's Anders' first receiving touchdown of the season.
Here's Anders. He does a great job. The offensive line sells pass protection well. Indianapolis Colts buy it, and then big block out there in 79 Zott, 61 Grunhard. Personal escort to the end zone.
And the emphatic spike by the Pro Bowler for the second year in a row, Kimball Anders, and the Chiefs with an impressive drive, and Pete Stoyanovich adding on the extra point for Kansas City, which puts together a 7-play, 60-yard drive of their own and cuts the Colts lead in half. Well, Trump, we were remarking before this game began what a special venue this is in the NFL, and where the Chief fans with finally something to cheer about, it begins to waken up a little bit.
They wear red all week, not just on Sunday. They show up here early, and they don't care how cold it is. They still barbecue outside.
Louis Aguiar gets into it. Aaron Bailey awaiting it from his 6-yard line. Puts on a couple of moves and gets it across the 20 to the 23, and that's where the Colts will begin. Well, tonight on Dateline, you're holiday shopping and you were just overcharged. Find out how Dateline's hidden cameras caught them in the act again and again and made one of your favorite stores change its ways. It's an undercover investigation. Watch Dateline tonight on NBC.
I'm afraid to go anywhere, do anything.
Intriguing Sunday night programming.
Well, now let's see if the Kansas City Chiefs defense can stop the Colts. Colts had it twice, 2 scores.
Long count by Harbaugh, gives it to Marshall Faulk, trying to turn the corner on the right side, and a good stop by Kansas City. Tracy Simeon with the stop as you take a look at Kansas City, and Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs is a defense that should stop the run. I say should. They've had problems with it. They moved Derek Thomas to more of a true linebacker, and the injuries up front to Sally Amua and also Vaughn Booker puts real pressure on this defensive line.
And they haven't gotten the sack production that they would have liked from Neil Smith, who is not going to the Pro Bowl for the first time in 5 years. Harbaugh swings it out to Cliff Gross, and Gross takes on Anthony Davis and gets close to another Colt first down.
Nice catch.
Yes.
Nice catch.
Give him credit when it's due, right?
Absolutely. And in college, he was an excellent receiver, but kind of lost a little confidence in his hands. And in this Lindy and Fonnie style offense, you know, and if the Colts break the huddle, there is no primary receiver. Everybody's got to be awake all the time. And Cliff at times has been surprised.
It is the 25th ranked offense in the NFL. Key third down and short conversion attempt for Indianapolis here. And Faulk trying to get it. It appears he got it, but if he did, it won't be by much. Keith Traylor trying to stop Faulk along with John Browning there, the player starting up front for that injured defensive line.
Gross is the lead blocker. Simeon gets hit very well. Also Minuski 51 in there. But Colts able to pick up the first down.
Colts so very impressive the last 2 games, keeping their hopes alive for a playoff spot, trying to keep them alive again today with a victory here in Arrowhead. On 1st and 10, Harbaugh has time looking downfield, and Harrison that time couldn't catch up to it.
You know, but the key is that's the 3rd time now he's been past Tony Stargell, number 45. Stargell is replacing Dale Carter. And again, let's see if Stargell gets a good bump. No, Harrison does a great job of manipulating his way past Stargell. Harbaugh just overthrows it. But I mean, if you're going to bump the guy, you got to bump him. You got to reroute it.
2nd and 10.
Harrison looking for a second straight 100-yard receiving game. A look at Stargell.
Yeah, he's now a target for the rest of the game.
And a handoff to Faulk. Nothing there. Jukes back to his right. Caught for a loss behind the line of scrimmage. Keith Traylor there to bring him down for a loss. And it'll bring up 3rd and long. Keith Traylor, former Bronco and Packer, signed as a free agent last year for Kansas City.
Yeah, there's Traylor right there. This is an excellent job. Traylor started out his career as a linebacker, has eaten his way to defensive line.
Eating his way there.
Yes, and generally the next move is the unemployment line in the NFL.
Key 3rd down for the Colts. 3 for 3 so far today. And 5 wideouts looks for Harbaugh in the shotgun. Well, here's an indication of how good Harbaugh can move. Avoids 2 tacklers and knocked out of bounds at the 32-yard line. And that'll bring up 4th and long. So Harbaugh definitely could tell he didn't have the same mobility he's had in the past on that play especially.
Actually, you're right.
But he did a good job.
He did a great job. And it looks to me like the tape job has loosened up a little bit. He avoids Neil Smith. And then the thing that surprises me here, Derek Thomas, a clear whiff. I mean, Derek Thomas is one of the great tacklers in the league. Harbaugh strong. He's not that strong.
So the Colts forced to punt. And Vanover up to the 28-yard line. A 7-yard return brought down by Elijah Alexander. We're back in a moment. The Colts on top, 14-7.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Call now to enjoy a hot and delicious Domino's Pizza by halftime. For Hot and Wow, call Domino's now.
Back in Kansas City, Jim Harbaugh scrambling for his life on the last play, but that was quite a whiff by Derek Thomas.
But Harbaugh had a little canter in his run, not a full gallop.
Well, there is Greg Hill, the compliment to Marcus Allen in the Chiefs' backfield. And they fake to Hill. And Gannon sees some light and takes off. Gets up to the 35.
Yeah, he sees some light, but there was no receiver. Somebody did something wrong. Whoops, whoops. Gannon jumps up, grabs his hamstring. Did you see how he hopped? Uh-oh.
Yep, and that is definite looking hamstring injury.
He's got, this is called a waggle. He's going to fake the handoff and then run out here. There's supposed to be a receiver somewhere. There's no one. He has no choice but to run it. But where does he pull his hamstring? Looks like he gets his. It looks like he gets his leg stretched, and Bono is
furiously. Now he's trying to warm up as soon as he can because it just happened that quick. He didn't know how quickly he'd get into this, but Gannon appears to be coming out.
The only thing I noticed at the end of this play, watch his left leg on the tackle. You're going to see his spikes show up as he slides. Now watch his left leg. Or his right leg. See the way 95 Whittington, there's his spike right there. And he may have overstretched his leg a little bit, but I mean, he bounced up and immediately grabbed a hold of that hamstring. And now Mr. Bono.
Mr. Bono, who was pulled for the first time last year in the playoff game here, which the Colts won 10-7, and that kind of began to creep into everybody's mind as to how much confidence Marty Schottenheimer had in him. He did begin the season as the starter, but it's been Gannon who has replaced Bono, despite, which we indicated earlier, was a pretty good winning record for the Chiefs. Not only for the Chiefs, but his 28-11 record as a starter is the best percentage of any active quarterback in the NFL today, and they concern Marty Schottenheimer.
And of course, when Marty made the move from Bono to Gannon, he said Gannon's it. Barring injury, Gannon is it. He does not want a quarterback controversy.
Did you think that was the proper call by Schottenheimer, putting himself into that position and not really leaving it open to replace?
Actually, Marty has always done that. He's always put it on himself. That's one of the great things to admire about Marty Schottenheimer. He wants his team to know, I'm convinced this guy can do a better job. But now, when they took Bono out, he was devastated for about 2 or 3 days. Absolutely devastated. With a 29 record, he really thought that with the receivers hurt, it wasn't his fault. But now, how do you get Steve Bono back down 14-7 in a game that you must win for a real shot at the playoffs?
And you know his confidence hurting a little bit after starting 29 straight games before the Detroit game, in which Gannon came on and took over his starting job. But with 8:43 left in the second quarter, Gannon walks off very, very gingerly, and Steve Bono gets as many warm-up tosses as he can work in, and out he comes.
Yeah, when Gannon grabbed the top of the back of his right leg, look, a nice touch here. Bono stopping with Gannon. You all right? You okay? Road roomies. Tip of the cap. I think we've seen the last of Gannon. A high hamstring pull is the worst kind of hamstring pull.
So in a key game here at Arrowhead, Chiefs playoff hopes on the line. It is Steve Bono back at the controls for the Chiefs, trailing 14-7 as the clock begins to roll. 8:40 left in the opening half.
Well, maybe it's when you play the Colts. You know, it's a virus jumping from one side of the ball to the other. Now a Chief gets hurt.
He's got bad memories the last time in that playoff game. He threw 3 interceptions, Trump, as he hands off for the first time to Greg Hill, who bounces to the left side, turns the corner, and is finally brought down deep in Colt territory at the 42. Jason Belzer, the Kansas City native, finally brought him down, but a gain of 23 for Hill on Bono's very first play.
Great acceleration by Greg Hill. He is stopped dead in his tracks at the line of scrimmage. But he does not give up. McCoy, 61, is the guy who makes contact, and then Hill on his first carry of the game, not a bad average.
And that'll up that average, which is good to begin with, at 4.9 a carry. Chiefs with a first down at the Colt 41. Bono hands off again. Hill hits the hole hard and leans forward for maybe a yard or two.
Now, the only thing wrong with this young man, he is going to work out to be one heck of a running back. But he should learn a lesson from Marcus Allen, and that is, in order to be a complete back, you got to learn how to catch the football. And Greg Hill is, for all intents and purposes, not a receiver. Just 3 catches on the season. And the more he can be a running back, the longer the Chiefs can leave him in the lineup. Now, I hope he catches on quickly from him, Marcus Allen.
He does represent a different running gear than Marcus and gives the Chiefs another solid option. And here is Hill again on the second down call. Brought down at the 36 by Tony McCoy.
He was tackled by Bernard.
Now you see what the Chiefs are doing here. 2 tight ends spreading the defense and trying to give Hill any and all options to run. Again, Hackett now has to somehow rebuild a little confidence in Steve Bono as Hill comes out. Who goes in? Bennett.
Well,
and McNair is also in the game. Todd McNair, Dan.
The report on Gannon, a strained right hamstring. He is questionable. Bono's first pass of the game, across the middle, in and out of the hands of Jason Belzer, right in his hands. Not the kind of start passing-wise Bono wanted to get off to, but Belzer with a gift. He dropped it.
Here's Belzer right here. Gannon goes back and sets up. It looks like it's intended for the tight end Cash. Yeah, Belzer drops the coverage. Well, I don't know how Belzer did not catch that ball.
2 interceptions last week for Belzer. He returned the first for a touchdown on 4th down. Kansas City going for it on 4th and 5. Bono rolling right, just throwing it up, and LaChapelle makes the catch. Bono looked like he was caught with no option and just drifted it out there, and somehow LaChapelle came up with it for the first down.
There's no way this ball should be thrown. LaChapelle is just clearing out. Diedrich Mathis is all over him. I mean, that's just a hope shot, and LaChapelle comes up with the catch.
That hope shot good for 15 yards and a first down at the Colt 22.
Well, Bono should be feeling a little better about right now, but don't do it again.
An inauspicious start for Bono through the air. Avoided 1 interception and possibly another one there. Well, this time a busted play, and Bono just takes a seat in the backfield.
I'm not sure who you blame that on. The running back did not even come out of his stance. Watch Greg Hill. He barely comes out of his stance. Well, Bono turns the wrong way. The blocking is set up for a draw to the left. Bono turns the wrong way. Come on, Steve. The Chiefs and Marty Schottenheimer. Come on, Steve. Get your head in this game now.
Approaching the 5-minute mark left in the opening half. The Colts with a 14-7 lead. Opened up with a 14-0 lead before the Chiefs answered. But Bono at the controls now, and He's got LaChapelle, who is close to another first down. Ray Buchanan on the coverage.
Good throw. Excellent throw. Again, this time it's Ray Buchanan. A big bump. LaChapelle, a big lanky receiver, really handles it well, and it's thrown on perfect timing. Absolutely perfect timing.
So out comes LaChapelle on third down and short. Already 3 catches for 32 yards for him.
Clock is at 5. The 25-second clock is at 5. They got to call a timeout.
Yep, Bono recognizes that fact as they hurried up, but he calls a second timeout for the Chiefs. Stops the clock with 4:16 to go in the second. Rich Gannon on the sidelines, relegated to the headset now. 3rd and 1. Steve Bono has taken over midway through the second quarter. Play action, rolling to his right, and did he stay in bounds? No, incomplete. And that'll bring up 4th and short.
No question about this. They already went for it on 1. 4th. Now they're bringing a kicker in. This surprises me. They go for it on 4th and 5, and they don't go for it on 4th and
but now
1.
they're in field goal range. Much better field goal range for Stoyanovich.
Again, Bono really had only one guy to throw it to. He didn't catch it cleanly. See, it's bouncing around, and no question that that's an incomplete pass.
So here's Pete Stoyanovich, and he has been shaky at best lately. This is a 30-yard attempt, and Stoyanovich gets that one through. And the Chiefs do get a field goal out of it. Still trail it by 4. Back in Kansas City, Dan Hicks with Bob Trumpy. The Colts on top of Kansas City 14-10. Pete Stoyanovich connecting on a 30-yard field goal. Stoyanovich does not kick off. Those duties belong to Louis Aguiar. And he's set to kick off to Aaron Bailey for the Colts. .407 left in this opening half. Aaron Bailey coming up to the 19-yard line. Short kick by Aguiar across the 30. Well, while we were away, there was an interesting situation on the sidelines. This was Marcus Allen talking to Marty Schottenheimer, and this conversation became heated in a hurry.
Yeah, I like the touch by Marcus Allen, but what's my call? Marty Schottenheimer said. Marcus puts his arm around Marty and says, we've both been here a long time. We should have gone for it on 4th and 1.5 or 2. Marcus still not happy, still roaming the sideline, but the message, the way he gets it to Marty is, hey, coach, arm around the shoulder. Give us some confidence.
Yeah, Marcus Allen was so outspoken when we talked to him in the meeting about how he thought this team had lost focus. It didn't want to win badly enough each Sunday. So Marcus Allen, an example there of how fired up he is to make sure Kansas City gets into playoffs. Colts on first down. Harbaugh again on the run and just gets rid of it and throws it out of bounds. Well, let's take another scoring update. Head to Greg in New York.
All right, Dan, Raiders and the Broncos at Mile High Stadium. John Elway with time to throw finds Rod Smith, who completes the 20-yard play into the end zone for the touchdown. Oakland needs a win to stay alive. They don't have it so far. 8 minutes to play first half. 21-3 Denver, Dan.
All right, thank you. The Broncos making a statement against Oakland, and that former Raider Marcus trying to get his Chiefs to make a statement here against the Colts. 2nd down and 10. Harbaugh working out of the shotgun. And firing Deshaun Dawkins incomplete. On the coverage was Jerome Woods.
Excellent coverage. Outstanding coverage by Woods, who's not really contributed a great deal to the Kansas City Chiefs this year. But shotgun, it was an empty backfield. You see Woods is right there. Knocked the ball away.
Woods, a #1 pick out of Memphis.
He's been a special teamer, had some returns, but not much coverage yet.
3rd and 10. 5 wideouts again for Harbaugh. Falk is split wide to the left down the bottom of your screen. Harbaugh guns it incomplete. It was intended for 86, Brian Stabline. And that'll bring up 4th down.
That's a strange formation that Kansas City had to deal with. They got them spread all over the place. But actually, it turns out to be very good coverage. Darren Anderson there at the right, Stargell 45 there at the right time to knock the ball away. And first time that Harbaugh has been hit so far in this first half, too. So key stop there by the Kansas City defense.
Gardocki again with a punt. And reels off another Pro Bowl type of punt. Vanover back at his 20-yard line. Evades a couple tackles and finally is spun down at the 27-yard line by Scott Slutzker. 48-yard punt, 8-yard return, and on the field again comes the future Hall of Famer Marcus Allen. When's the last time you saw Marcus get so heated with his own head coach on the sidelines?
Very unusual for Marcus Allen to do that, but as the recognized leader of this football team, he's got to give a message to the head coach. Let us play. For the most part, Marty Schottenheimer makes the right decision. I agree with Marcus. They should have gone for it on 4th down.
First and 10. Bono hands off to Marcus Allen, and Allen creeping across the 30-yard line.
Now, the thing that kind of surprises me here is that Greg Hill was the guy on the last drive. I know they want to share the duty here at running back, but I think you're better off keeping Marcus Allen fresh for the second half. And Greg Hill had a nice start there in that last series, but Marcus is in there.
Well, you talked about it earlier in the day on the NFL and NBC pregame show. You mentioned the BGS, the big game syndrome, which was coined by Marcus.
Yes, can work for you, can work against you.
Says his team has had a tough time getting up for the big games. This is a big one for Kansas City. Nice check off by Bono there. Finds Kimball Anders. And Anders rumbling for another first down to midfield.
Gaining confidence. You're going to see Bono here look all the way over to the right. That's the primary side of the pattern. He's going to be looking over here. He goes through about 3 different receivers. 1, not open. 2, not open. The outlet, he hits. Keeps moving his feet. Steve Bono now, he's into the game. It's mine for the rest of the day.
Kimball Anders, so valuable as a receiver for Kansas City, came into the ball game leading the Chiefs with 44 catches. That one good for 18. Bono hands off again to Marcus Allen.
Oh, that was a reject.
McCoy and Whittington up front there, putting the clamps on Marcus. Clock continues to roll as we approach the 2-minute warning. And will the Chiefs get it off? Yes, they will. Bono pumps twice and finally goes down at the 48. Stops the clock with 1:56 remaining. Colts still with that 14-10 lead. Back in a moment. Well, Marcus Allen has been active on the field and probably more active on the sidelines. Indication of how bad he wants to win this game.
And I'm talking to Jimmy Ray here. Art Shell, his former head coach at teammate at the Raiders. And Dan Saliamua standing right next to Marcus Allen. He's making a point to anybody and everybody on that sideline.
3rd down and 12 for the Chiefs now from their own 48. And there was movement on the slot by the Chiefs, and I believe that was LaChapelle who came out of his stance.
Penalty flags.
Art Shell.
False start. Number 18, offense. Moving prior to the snap. It's a 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
All of a sudden, the Chiefs in reverse.
Yeah, there's Marty Schottenheimer and Art Shell. Art told me that he was unemployed 48 hours. And Marty called him and said, get to Kansas City. I want you here. One of the great people, players, and certainly an outstanding coach that the NFL has ever come across.
3rd down and 17 for Kansas City now. And Bono gets rid of it. And that one was floating in interception land for a moment. Ray McElroy had a chance at it. Bono was looking for LaChapelle. That'll bring up 4th down, and Kansas City will punt.
Some pressure from Richard Dent. I don't know that you can say that it really affects Steve Bono, but Richard Dent goes right around John Alt and may have made him hurry it a little bit. Now you see again, and this is throwing down there where there's horseshoes.
Tell you, A lot of horseshoes, as Bono has had 2 potential interceptions dropped by the Colts defensive backs. Brian Stabline calling for the fair catch of Louis Aguiar's punt at the 18-yard line. And we'll remind you that coming up at the half, Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report. Greg Gumbel along with Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs, and Chris Collinsworth, all the scores and highlights from this pivotal Sunday in the NFL. Lots of playoff spots up for grabs, and we'll have all the scores and highlights of the situation. Well, the situation here in Kansas City is simply this: the Chiefs need to win to get into the playoffs, and the Colts need a victory to stay alive.
Yeah, Colts win and wait. Chiefs win, at least they know.
So the Colts have a couple of timeouts left, a minute 44 to deal with. 4 wide receivers for Harbaugh. And a pitch to Falk. Falk brought down in a hurry by Jerome Woods. Again, the rookie out of Memphis. Very active today.
Yeah, Kansas City in this latter stages of the half. They had 8 defensive backs on the field. I think that's all they own. Everybody under contract who's a defensive back, get out there. Look, they got a 3-man rush, one of them being Anthony Davis, a linebacker, and 8 defensive backs. So good choice by Colts to run the ball, try to run the ball.
Again, Kansas City dealing without 3 defensive starters today, all lost in their last game Monday night against Oakland. Harbaugh out of the shotgun, and that's a designed quarterback draw that Harbaugh told us would remain in the offensive package. He didn't look as nimble as he has in the past on that one.
No, I think that's a play the coach calls just to say we'll do it. But you can see that big brace on the left knee. Jim is trying to run the play without damage to his knee and leave an impression on the Kansas City defense.
He did tell us that Lindy didn't change the game plan per se, but I don't know if we'll see another quarterback draw for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I don't think so. Harbaugh's a little late with the play here. Looked like he was spitting grass out of his mouthpiece or something.
Play clock down to 4. And now Harbaugh will call the Colts' second timeout. And they'll have 1 remaining when we come back. 18 seconds to go. Welcome back to Indianapolis. Jim Harbaugh obviously not having the same mobility he's enjoyed in the past, but with 18 seconds left and 1 timeout, the Colts with a 3rd down and 5 at their own 24. They lead at 14-10. Harbaugh working out of the shotgun, and the give to Marshall Faulk up the middle for a 1st down.
Marshall Faulk, the ball carrier.
And the clock continues to roll, under 10 seconds left.
1st down.
And that should be the final play of the 1st half. Well played opening half. Close, tight game as we thought it might be. The Colts lead at 14-10. Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report is next after these messages from the NFL.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. For hot and wow, call Domino's. Now,
back in our studios in New York. Welcome, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with Joe Gibbs, Mike Ditka, Chris Collinsworth. Let's run down the scores and highlights for you. The game that you are watching, the Colts with a 14-10 lead on the Kansas City Chiefs at halftime. How do you figure this game, Mike?
Well, right now, I'll tell you what, it's great. The Colts got to be terrifically impressed with Harbaugh. He's staying in the pocket. He's doing a good job. They're giving him pretty good protection. They're not getting very much production out of Faulk right now, but they're not running the ball. They haven't done that very well all year. And I'll tell you what, Kansas City, they could have folded up to 10. You got to give them a little credit. They bounced right back, put 10 points on the board, and they're right in the game.
Kansas City finishes at Buffalo next week. The Colts finish at Cincinnati. In Denver, the Broncos trying to take the Raiders out of the playoff picture, leading at 24-3. John Elway back in the starting lineup. Terrell Davis ties a Bronco record in the 1st quarter, his 14th touchdown of the season, a 3-yard run, 7-0 Denver. And then in the 2nd quarter, John Elway to Rod Smith, who eludes the tackle. He goes in from 20-yard touchdown, Elway ties a career high with his 26th touchdown pass of the season. The Broncos continue to roll 24-3. It doesn't look good for Oakland.
Well, from Mike Shanahan's perspective, it looks pretty good, though. For the second straight year now, it looks like Mike Shanahan, the Denver Broncos, are going to knock the Raiders out of the playoff picture. Remember, Shanahan was fired by Al Davis and the Raiders, and what a difference John Elway makes for this entire team. The offense, the defense, the running game. Everything is better with John Elway in there.
Yeah, a win for the Broncos today makes them 13-2 on the year. In Houston, the Oilers against the Bengals at halftime. It is a 6-0 Houston lead on the Cincinnati Bengals. Bruce Kozla has been offered a 4-year contract. He's 5-2 since becoming the coach. Bengals first play from scrimmage. Jeff Blake sacked on a combined effort by Robert Young and Anthony Cook. On the Oilers' second possession, Chris Chandler hits Eddie George on the screen pass. This is good for 15 yards. It led to an Al Del Greco 48-yard field goal. Del Greco also hit from 42 yards out. That's been the scoring story so far in Houston, 6-0 Oilers. In Arizona, the Redskins trying to stay alive, but they trail the Cardinals 14-13 as they approach halftime in the desert. Now, earlier today, in Big D, the Cowboys defeated the New England Patriots by a score of 12-6. Emmitt Smith, 85 yards today as the Cowboys clinch their 5th straight NFC East title. All-Pro Curtis Martin, 91 yards on the ground today, 21 on this effort. He broke a couple of tackles. Then, going in the other direction, it led to the first of 2 field goals by Adam Vinatieri. It was 9-6 Dallas in the third. Drew Bledsoe, who was picked 3 times today, this one right through Ben Coates into the hands of Darren Woodson, who returned 21 yards to the Patriots 4. The Cowboys settled for one of 4 field goals by Chris Bonio. Field goals, the story of the day, and the Cowboys had more of them. They win it 12-6. Joe?
It's a different Cowboy team. This is a defensive team now, really. They're not scoring many points. They're really not having to. 3 out of the last 5 games, they haven't given up a TD. Today, they were playing the Pats, the leading scoring team in the league. Did a great job, and I think we got to take our hats off to Emmitt, too. He had a heck of a day, over 100 yards total offense.
And we have ourselves a pretty interesting game next Saturday. The New England Patriots hosting the New York Giants. Bill Parcells against his former team. New England needs this game. That comes your way at noon Eastern time next Saturday. Now, in Pittsburgh, the Steelers fall to the 49ers, 25-15, the final score today. Niners looking to regroup after last week's loss at home to Carolina. Scoreless in the first quarter, Steve Young to Jerry Rice from 4 yards out. Rice today, the first wide receiver in NFL history with 3 straight seasons of at least 100 receptions. San Francisco led 22-0 at halftime. In the third quarter, Niners in control. The opening drive of the second half, Steelers at the Niners 15. Mike Tomczak screen pass picked off by Chris Dolman. And this is pretty much the way it went today for Pittsburgh and for head coach Bill Cowher. The Steelers fall to 10-5. The 49ers are 11-4. They win it by 10. In Carolina, the Panthers, 27-16 winners over the Baltimore Ravens today. Kevin Green leading a group of 7 Panthers headed to the Pro Bowl. 3-0 Carolina in the first. Vinny Testaverde on the scramble. Puts it up for Michael Jackson, who makes the juggling catch. 23-yard touchdown. 7-3 Baltimore. In the second quarter, Carolina running back Anthony Johnson went over the 1,000-yard rushing mark. His 2-yard touchdown made it 10-7 in favor of the Panthers. 13-10 Baltimore in the third. Kerry Collins flushed out of the pocket. Watch him make things happen. On the rollout, finds Mark Carrier, 6-yard touchdown, 17-13. They go on to win it by a score of 27-16. The Panthers have won 6 in a row. In Detroit, the Packers win their 4th in a row. They clinch a first-round bye, 31-3. In Minnesota, the Vikings are 9-6. They win 21-10 over Tampa Bay. The New Orleans Saints snap a 7-game losing streak, 17-3 over the New York Giants. And in Atlanta, the Falcons fall to 3-12. The Rams win it 34-27. We'll send you back to Kansas City for the second half after these words from your local station.
Halftime in Kansas City, the Colts on top of the Chiefs by a score of 14-10. And normally at this juncture in opening the second half, we might show you some highlights scoring-wise, but there were 3 critical things that happened in the opening half. The injury to Rich Gannon, which forced Steve Bono to come in the second quarter. There was the right hamstring injury to Gannon. He came out, and then Bono on 4th and 5. This, as you called it, Trump, a hope shot to Sean LaChapelle.
And I was being generous. There's no way in the world that Steve Bono should make that throw. He does. And then that on 4th and 5 creates another situation later. We'll show you after the kickoff.
Gardaki's kick taken by Vanover, about a yard deep in his own end zone, traversing the entire field over to the left side. And and turns it into a pretty good kickoff return across to the 31-yard line. 32-yard return brought down by Diedrich Mathis. The other piece of tape in the opening half was Marcus Allen, I guess, questioning the call by Marty Schottenheimer later to not go for it on 4th and 1, instead kick the field goal.
Yeah, that produced the 10th point, but Marcus Allen was very upset. And I think Marcus is probably the only guy on the team that can walk up to Marty Schottenheimer, get in his face. But he did it with an arm around his shoulder. But he made the point. Coach, have a little more confidence in us.
Definitely had the right tact to even challenge his own head coach. Bono hands off to Marcus Allen for a short gain up the middle as we take a look at the Coors Light halftime stats. Really the tale of 2 quarters. Indianapolis got out to the 14-0 lead and looked like they would dominate. But as you look at the halftime stats, pretty even down the line.
Yeah, nothing that really jumps out at you. No turnovers. The first 2 drives of the game. The Colts work it into the end zone quickly. Kansas City had to start from 14 down, and now with Steve Bono at quarterback, he's not throwing the ball well yet.
On 2nd down and 8, flags come in. Yeah, there have not been too many penalties as well. It has been a pretty well played game, but Tom White, the referee.
Start. Number 76, offense, moving prior to the snap. That's a 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And that is on Big John Alt. Total yards. There is the first and second quarter comparison. That is a tale of 2 different quarters.
Indianapolis, the first quarter was almost all Marshall Faulk, too, wasn't it?
Colts had that impressive opening drive when Faulk handled the ball 8 of the 13 times. So on 2nd and long, Bono to the air, and Chris Penn makes a nice reception above his head. He'll be short of the first down, but a nice catch by Chris Penn. Jeff Harrod on the stop.
Ray Buchanan was the guy in coverage too, and we've seen this most of the day, although Buchanan is off and does a good job of pushing him off, and that's a strong reception. You need good strength in your arms and hands to pull that thing down for a reception while that defensive back is hanging all over you.
The wide receivers had such inconsistent play, and then rain in Oakland last game, they only caught 2 passes, and those both came in the 4th quarter. A couple of tight ends for Kansas City in this offensive set on 3rd and less than a yard. And, well, the best short yardage back probably in history, Marcus Allen with the call, understandably so. How good is he at smelling out the goal line or the first down mark?
Yeah, probably given that tag by Marty Schottenheimer first. You know, when he came here, it's a decent push by the offensive line, but Marcus is able to make himself smaller when he gets to the line of scrimmage. Turns his shoulders a little bit.
Look at, he's still moving.
Yeah, never stops digging for an inch, let alone a yard.
1st and 10, Kansas City from the 45. Opening drive of the 2nd half. They trail at 14-10. Marcus Allen this time, not much room to work with at all. Brought down quickly for a gain of a yard or 2. Bernard Whittington among the Colts on the stop.
But the defensive tackle, Tony McCoy, blew that play up. Watch what McCoy does to the center. He's right there. He just pushes Grunhard back. Actually pushes Grunhard right into Marcus Allen and makes him kind of reroute a little bit. So a tip of the cap to Tony McCoy, even though Whittington gets the tackle.
And a tip of the cap, Trump, to this entire Colt defense, playing with so many starters out, different players back in, free agents given second chances because of so many injuries, and they've come through in a big way. And that is Kimball Anders on the 2nd down call, short of the first down. It'll bring up 3rd down in about 3 or 4.
Tackled by Ellis Johnson.
Kimball Anders with an 18-yard nifty reception that he turned in for a touchdown in the opening half. That got Kansas City within 14-7, and then Stoyanovich had the 30-yard field goal to make it 14-10. That's where we stand right now. 11:21 and counting left in the 3rd quarter, and it will be 3rd down and 4 from the Colt 49.
Empty backfield for the Chiefs here.
So Marek Vanover in motion, And he goes to Vanover. Does he get the first down? It'll be, I believe, short.
Uh-oh, another decision now for Marty Schottenheimer.
Well, where's Marcus Allen? What's he doing?
Go for it.
No question about it. But that time by
Marcus
Marty.
made his point.
Maybe he saw Marcus out of the corner of his eye.
Yeah. I mean, there is no question whatsoever that Marty, to the fans, to Marcus, where is there? Go for it.
That was so definitive by Marty. 2 thumbs up, not just one, for that first down try.
Now it's up to the players on the field, and that's what the players want.
Just inches left. I got a feeling who's going to get the try and get it. Marcus Allen. Well, the ball came loose. The Colts say they have it. Steve Morrison with the football. But that'll stay in the hands of Kansas City, and now 2 for 2 on the 4th down tries.
They run a nice little fold block up here, an excellent lead. And again, Marcus just makes himself small through the hole in it. It looked like the ground did cause the fumble.
And the reaction from Schottenheimer?
Never a doubt.
I knew it all the way.
I knew it all the way. No question.
So Kansas City keeps this opening drive of the second half, an impressive one, alive at the Colt 38. Marcus Allen way deep in the backfield gets a running start close to the 35. Another look at that ball that trickled out of the hands of Marcus Allen.
Yeah, we do have the benefit of instant replay. The hit comes from Belser, 29. On the inside.
Was it stripped before he hit the ground?
I can't tell whether his knee was down or not, but it was close. And watch his left knee. That knee hit the ground before the ball starts coming out. I don't want to make that call.
Inconclusive.
Inconclusive, yes.
8th play of this drive. Fake it to Marcus. Bono with plenty of time. Flat comes in, has his man at the 30-yard line. Twisted around is Chris Penn.
There's a penalty flag down.
But that may indicate a holding call against Kansas City. Bono had a lot of time. And here is Mr. Tom White.
Holding. Number 76, offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, the second time that Big John Alt has been called today. Says the only time he'll think about retirement. Well, he thinks about it at the end of every season, but he wants a chance at a Super Bowl. The only reason he hung around this year was because of that chance to get a ring.
Sure, and look, he's going to have his second back surgery when this season's over on the same bad disc in his back. I mean, he's playing when most people wouldn't even think about playing.
Says it feels like his foot's dragging around a wet towel. Bono sets up. Kimball Anders has it. And Anders breaking tackles inside the 35-yard line.
Well, they've run a couple 3 screens here, Kansas City has. Very conservative approach, but sold well by Kansas City. Will be coming right at you. And the idea is you get that defensive end's hands down and then good blocks down the field. Nice block by the tight end, LaChapelle, an assist. I don't know if that's a block.
Tell you, I can see why they vote Kimball Anders to the Pro Bowl for the second year in a row. What he does after he makes the catch, and he's got great hands.
And a great blocker.
3 catches, 50 yards for Anders, plus that first half touchdown. 3rd down and 5 now. And that one batted down at the line of scrimmage by Richard Dent, the 4-time Pro Bowler with the Bears.
Another 4th down situation here. 4th and 5. Why is it that this game always puts you in the most uncomfortable spots?
And this is about exactly the same position field-wise that the Chiefs were in when it was 4th and 5. Schottenheimer went for it, and they got that gift from Bono to LaChapelle. Let's see what transpires here as they go for it.
What is this, their 3rd 4th down attempt of this game so far?
2 for 2 already earlier.
Blitz.
Marcus Allen with a good block to keep it alive. And it's LaChapelle who had the football. And now it's loose. And I believe it is a fumble by LaChapelle. And the Colts recover.
The pass to Chris Penn. Fumble recovered by Stephen.
So that one backfires in a big way, but maybe not in a huge way because it was 4th down. But LaChapelle not able to hang on.
But they had it.
They had it.
It was Chris Penn on the reception, and he did a great job.
It was Penn. He couldn't hang on to it, though, and the Kansas City drive ends.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered. By Chrysler and the cab-forward sedans of Chrysler. What's new in your world? By Intel, the world's leading maker of microprocessors. And by the adjustable Maverick beard and mustache trimmers from Norelco.
Close to 80,000 jammed into this packed Arrowhead Stadium, hoping the Chiefs finally get into the playoffs. It would be the 7th straight season, but the Colts with a 14-10 lead and taking over after the fumble by Chris Penn, who had picked up the 1st down to begin on the 25. And here we go with a fake into round, and Falk comes up with it. And Falk hit hard at the 32-yard line, but let's revisit the nice play here by Belzer.
Yeah, Chris Penn makes the catch. Eugene Daniel on the coverage. No question that he strips it away from him. I mean, it's a 4th down conversion. The Chiefs' 3rd of the day, and then picked up by Stephen Grant. And the Colts offense takes the field. So the decision was correct. The execution was there. Just got to hang on to the ball. First turnover for either team in this game.
Eugene Daniel, 197th game this week versus the Chiefs. Ties Ron Stark for the 2nd most games in Colt history. Coming up with a big play there. Falk will be stopped short of the 1st down.
Marshall Falk on the carry.
Well, this is the way the Colts started the game. A major dose of Marshall Falk. They run him on a nice little fake reverse screen and give him the ball here. He looks fresh.
Ryan Washington on the
In that toe injury suffered in the 2nd week of the season. He says he actually goes to the sidelines to put it back in joint at times. He says it comes out of gets dislocated from time to time. He heads to the sidelines and puts it back in.
Ligaments are still stretched.
3rd and short, less than a yard. And a pitch to Falk. I believe he got it, but not by much. Tracy Simeon bringing Falk down. He picks up a piece of turf in the process.
tackle made by Derek Thomas.
Looks like Marshall is going to take himself out of the game, but he's a tougher running back than I think he's given credit for. Not one of the real big running backs in the game, but he's certainly willing to put his head and shoulder down and take the punishment. It seldom hurt. That turf toe was an odd injury up in the Giant Stadium in New York. And of course, he missed the playoff game last year where they banged up knee.
Indianapolis with another set of downs just across their own 35. 5:46 left in the third. Harbaugh play action. Harbaugh being chased, and down he goes. John Browning with the sack for Kansas City. His second of the season for the rookie out of West Virginia.
His first start of the year. First time they get to Jim Harbaugh today on the sack. He goes around Matthews. Actually, Matthews does a pretty good job of pass protection. Harbaugh just hangs on to it a little too long. I think most quarterbacks or coaches would take that much pass protection on any given down.
So it's second down and long for Harbaugh. And they give it to Vince Workman. Lamont Warren inactive today. He's another one of the Colt running backs, but just practiced one day on Friday. Lamont Warren did not play last week, not playing again today, so Vince Workman in the game, and right back out onto the field is Falk to replace Workman.
Yeah, the wild card. He's the guy that just he makes defensive coordinators stay up late at night trying to figure out what to do with this kid, how to stop him.
3rd and 12. Colts 5 of 7 on third down conversions today.
Harbaugh's counting defensive backs there. I count 6 for the Chiefs.
Just gets the play off with a second left. And in and out of the arms of Aaron Bailey. Bailey had the first down.
Well, that was the big catch. Bailey's got to make that catch. I know he's in full stride. A crossing route run by Bailey. There you see Stargell, 45 is behind him. If he catches it, he does pick up the first down. And Harbaugh, come on.
He had open field ahead of him, enough to pick up the first down. Instead, Chris Gardocki to punt, and Vanover back to receive it, standing at his own 26. And this punt not quite as good as some of the ones he reeled off in the first half, and that was a tough catch for Vanover to get that quail. And they'll have it at the 25 when we come back. Well, you know something bad's happened when the kickers are the only guys around you on the sidelines. That is Aaron Bailey, who dropped what would have been a first down for the Colts to keep the drive alive, all alone.
Yeah, there's Bailey.
Now he's not.
And he was just watching television there a moment earlier on the big screen here in Arrowhead Stadium.
4:18 to go in the third quarter. The score the same, 14-10, as it was at the half. Again, Steve Bono in relief of Rich Gannon, who left the game midway through the second quarter, and that one is dropped. Keith Cash, number 89.
Not particularly well thrown.
Coverage on the play by Trev Alberts.
That ball, when you have those real short patterns, watch the tight end right here. You got to hit him between the numbers, because generally you're going to have linebackers all over you. Well, I take it back. Keith Cash should have caught that one. I'm sorry, Steve Bono. I take it back.
Second
that was a fine throw.
Kimball Anders turns the corner. Out of bounds.
Anders on the carry.
Close to the 30-yard line. Jeff Herrod on the stop for the Colts in what has been a swift-moving third quarter.
Now, for a fullback, this young man has great acceleration to the outside, which
Gain of 7 yards on the play.
is unusual nowadays for fullbacks, because an awful lot of fullbacks in the NFL nowadays are just blockers. You know, they don't carry the ball that much. And Moose Johnson, you think of him?
Yeah.
I mean, he just blocks. But Kimball Anders is an excellent running back.
3rd and 3. A deep drop, and out of the backfield it is Anders.
I think it was Greg Hill who came back on a nice peel back block
and did the peeling.
This is a little swing pass. This, I think, is an important completion. You're going to see the fullback come out here. This is a very difficult pass to complete. He throws it pretty well. Now watch 27, Greg Hill on Grant.
Ooh. And that could be Grant, who is down on the sidelines.
If he's not, he should be.
We'll check on him back in a moment. 3:12 left in the third quarter. And Steve Bono handing off to Greg Hill. And Hill gets some hard-earned yards, brought down by Steve Morrison.
By the way, Stephen Grant was the guy who got hit on the sideline.
And now Morrison is down, holding his arm.
There's Grant on the sideline. He's okay, wondering where he's been.
I tell you though, Steve Morrison started for Stephen Grant last game against Philadelphia. He's one of those undrafted free agents, unheralded college player who's played a number of positions for the Colts. He's down, and Stephen Grant also hurt. We'll be right back.
Final score: Minnesota 21, Tampa Bay 10.
Back in Kansas City, Chiefs on 2nd down and 6. Greg Hill gets the call, but as we left, Infante's infirmary in business again, Bob.
Yeah.
2 linebackers, Steve Morrison and Stephen Grant, injured.
On successive plays, we might add. It looked like Morrison's got a neck stinger. Grant on the right had a phone to answer. No one was calling, but it was definitely ringing.
And don't mean to make light of all the injury problems that Infante's had, but 41 different starters this year, just decimated by injuries. But the Colts continue to play hard every game. Under 2 minutes left. Third down and 4. Bono trying to scramble, and downhill he goes. And that is 61 Tony McCoy who dragged him down.
Well, there you see one of the reasons why they preferred Gannon at quarterback as opposed to Steve Bono. Bono is a target in the pocket. He does not move much at all. There's McCoy right there. He's on Will Shield, number 68. And when Bono starts to step out of the pocket, McCoy there to make the sack.
5th sack for Tony McCoy. 4th-round draft pick out of Florida, and now Louis Aguiar. Not a very good punt. Stabline catches it in a hurry from the 29, avoids one chief, and gets it across to the 36. Return of 6 yards on the 37-yard punt by Aguiar. Minute 22 left in the 3rd. A rare late Sunday afternoon in Kansas City, usually playing 1 o'clock Eastern time starts, but the lights are on in Arrowhead. And the Chiefs trying to get into the playoffs with a victory today. Trailing the Colts 14-10. It's been a while since the Colts have scored, getting both their touchdowns in the first quarter. Harbaugh passing on 1st down. He's got Falk. Falk avoids one defender and squirms his way to the 42. Let's go to New York for another scoring update with Greg.
All right, Dan, in Houston, the Bengals have taken until now to finally put some points on the board today. Jeff Blake, a 14-yard strike to the rookie out of Portland State, James Hunden, with the extra point. Cincinnati's 7-6 lead on the Oilers, who can ill afford a loss today, Dan.
All right, thank you very much, Greg. What a job Bruce Coslett has done for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Got the Bengals working. Houston, tough place for anybody to win.
2nd down and 4 at the 42. Waning seconds of this 3rd quarter. That ball tipped and almost picked off. That was Keith Traylor who had a chance at it.
Neil Smith was the guy who tipped it. And Traylor shows why he's got a 9 on his chest. You're going to see Neil Smith come to the outside here, just gets his hands up. They're going to run the little swing pass out to Gross. And then Traylor, he looks like a defensive lineman on that attempt.
The play was set up by Neil Smith, who really has had a down year. Haven't called his number a lot today either. But on 3rd down and 4 wideouts for Harbaugh from the shotgun. Here comes the pressure. Sean Dawkins makes the catch. Dawkins dragged out of bounds at the 15.
Pass to Sean Dawkins.
Right over the head of Jerome Woods.
What? Right call at the right time. Kansas City comes with the blitz. You're going to see the pressure. Dawkins' first catch of the day over the rookie Woods. My goodness.
Harbaugh is pumped.
What a great call, catch, recognition of the defense.
Dawkins, who's led the Colts in receiving yards each of the last 2 years, comes up with a huge catch. Marshall Faulk down to the 12 or perhaps the 11-yard line.
Well, that was a saving tackle by Tracy Simeon, too.
And that brings us to the end of the 3rd quarter in Kansas City. Colts trying to keep their playoff hopes alive with a win. Lead by 4. Back after these messages from your local station. Well, there's Indianapolis with that quick start in the opening quarter, but a scoreless 3rd quarter. And the start of the 4th quarter finds the Colts on the move thanks to the big pass catch by Dawkins, good for 42 yards. 2nd down and 6. And Harbaugh with plenty of time throwing it out of bounds. It was Dilger, the tight end in the vicinity.
Good choice by Harbaugh. Just heave it out of there. We go back to that big catch by Sean Dawkins. If there's one failing of this Kansas City defense in 1996, it's the big plays that they have given up. In fact, didn't Marty Schottenheimer tell us yesterday he's a numbers guy? He said they have given up 56 plays of 20 yards or more in this 1996 season.
Right.
You add to that today, there's been 3 or 4 over 20 yards, and they're good on 1st and 2nd down, and suddenly they give up the big play.
He says 3rd down has been killing this football team. And a timeout is called by the Colts, their first of this 2nd half.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered. By Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By KFC, for everything a meal should be, everybody needs a little KFC. And by American Express. Help support the American Express Charge Against Hunger program.
Critical third down attempt here for Indianapolis. Third down and 6. Harbaugh's going to work out of the shotgun. They're 6 of 9 on the afternoon. Harbaugh going close to the goal line. It's caught for the first down. Tony Stargell on the coverage. But it was a nice catch made by Marvin Harrison, number 88. Already with a couple of touchdown catches to his credit.
Well, look, nice inside release. Just made Stargell just hesitate for a moment. And of course, Stargell, I told you earlier, he's now a target. Stargell replacing Dale Carter. Harbaugh knows it is a major league throw and a major league pattern run by Harrison.
He has come up with some big catches today. First and goal for the Colts. Falk. He's not going to get in.
Good job here by the defensive line, just holding up the offensive line, allowing the linebackers to pursue along the line of scrimmage. They don't have to go back in the end zone. Several people making the hit. Martin, number 71.
Preston,
among a couple others.
Preston to defensive line duty this week for Kansas City with the injuries they've had up front. Second and goal now. Falk will try it again. This time gets the pitch, and again Kansas City's defense responds.
That one you give a tip of the cap to Martin Bayless. Number 21 on the outside. Made Marshall Falk step back inside. Allow the pursuit to catch up. Minuski, watch 21 come across the line of scrimmage, right? Makes him jump back inside. And Simeon and Minuski there to make the tackle. You lose 2 yards maybe on that one?
Yeah, they did. They had the first and goal at the 1.5 yard line. Now backed up to the 5 on third and goal. Harbaugh blitz, 4 wideouts. And that one in and out of the arms of Neil Smith. He had a tailor-made interception.
Oh, he drops in coverage, which is exactly what you want him to do. I guess you can't expect him to make the catch.
Been that kind of year for Neil.
90's not supposed to be out there. All of a sudden he just shows up. Yeah, Mandarich 79 is the man in trying to block him. Oh my goodness.
So this to tie the NFL record. This is Kerry Blanchard for the chip shot, and he's equaled the NFL record for field goals in a season, 35. He is 35 of 39 on the year.
That third down play, watch Neil Smith along here. You're going to see Kansas City coming with a blitz. That may have been the biggest defensive play of the game right here. You see the way Neil Smith kind of drifts out. Mandarich is blocking on him, hold him to a 3-point field goal, and now Kansas City still in the game at 17-10.
Neil Smith. How many of those interceptions have we seen drop today, really by both teams? Vanover comes out for Kansas City, showing a flash of speed across midfield, makes a nice cut back to the left, and finally brought down at the 21.
By a man who came back inbounds.
71 yards by Vanover.
And Mark Stock saves his touchdown. Huge play by Kansas City. Young man, just 22 years old, already playing in his 3rd season in the NFL. Watch 10 behind Vanover. He's going to show up again. Keep watching 10. He's
Great
blocked
cut
out of bounds.
Vanover.
Stock is blocked out of bounds, comes back in to make the tackle.
Because that was Gardocki, who was the last Colt there with a chance to get him, and who knows what kind of guarantee that would have been. Kansas City now with great field position at the Colt 21, set up by the Vanover kickoff return. Greg Hill with another big chunk, close to a first down for Kansas City.
Well, Dan, we mentioned earlier that Marty Schottenheimer said we don't have any game breakers. Vanover is certainly one. And the only way they can really get his hands on the ball is on the kickoff returns. He's yet to really learn the offense. But that defensive stand, a little spark to the team, the return by Vanover. The emotion now clearly on the side of the Chiefs.
Second down and less than a yard. And they give it to Hill, and Hill picks up the first down. It'll be first down and goal for Kansas City, trailing 17-10, 11:42 and running left in the game.
Now, when Kansas City's in these situations, they turn it over to the offensive line. This team can play with anybody.
And another Colt is down. That is Tony Bennett, 56. Colts have already been nicked up, a couple of linebackers, Morrison and Grant. But a great kickoff return by Vanover. The Chiefs trying to take advantage. $70,000 plus on their feet in Kansas City. First and goal from the 7. Bono working play action to the right, drifting this one to no one.
Yeah, he's trying to run a screen to the tight end. Actually made a good choice. Where Ellis Johnson was chasing him. The screen is going to come to this tight end right here coming in motion. But there's such pressure. 3 Colts are right in his face, and the tight end also trips and falls. It's Cash who falls, gets his feet caught up with one of the offensive linemen.
And numbers for Bono since taking over for Rich Gannon midway through the second quarter. Again, Gannon out of the game with a strained right hamstring. Hill slips at the 11. Well, you mentioned to me during the break you don't like Kansas City in this position. Why is that?
First and goal at the 7. 1, there's not enough room to really run patterns, and 2, you can get the defense up there just all over the offensive line, and just a slip there. But look, there's a 10:55 left. Schottenheimer's already got to make the decision. Do we go for it on 4th down? What do we do here? I know 3rd down is coming up, so they need.
Well, there's the guy that's been very vocal on 4th down tries all afternoon, Marcus Allen on the sideline.
This is a tough spot for Kansas City.
Bono being chased, gets rid of it, and it's incomplete.
He could have run it in.
But does he have the mobility to get in? Intended for Keith Cash.
Now Schottenheimer has no choice but to go for the field goal. But if Steve Bono just tucks it under his arm, I give him a 70% chance of scoring. As it was, he threw it right down into the feet of the receiver.
So here is Stoyanovich, a 30-yard field goal in the second quarter. And this will be from the identical distance, 30 yards. And Stoyanovich pumps it through. And Kansas City didn't get the touchdown, but they do get the field goal.
But watch how open he is. He could have run it in.
Steve Bono on the sidelines did have a lot of room to perhaps run that in. We'll show you how much room he had left in a moment. But
Gannon would have run it in.
that's one of the reasons why Schottenheimer made the move to Gannon, but Gannon is out injured. Cliff Gross picks up, actually hands off over to Aaron Bailey, and Bailey picks it up, and he's across the 20 to the 23. And again, a look at how much room Bono had.
Yeah, now here's the tight end, and this is Richard Dent in coverage. You're going to see Bono come out and avoid 1 tackle, and then he's got an awful lot of room. I may raise my percentages as whether or not he can get in here. He's at the 15-yard line. He throws the ball into the legs of Richard Dent. Now here's the play of the game. Watch Mark Stock. He keeps going after this play from out of bounds. He makes the tackle on Tamarick Vanover. If he doesn't, I think Gardocki misses the tackle. Chiefs score on a touchdown, tie score.
As it is, they can't take advantage with a touchdown of a 72-yard kickoff return. This is Cliff Gross. So that may indeed be a key play before this one is over. 10 minutes left in the game.
Dan, most players, once they're blocked out of bounds, they pretty much give up on the play. I mean, that's it. But Mark Stock stayed with it. And that could be one of those key little bitty, teeny little plays that suddenly just mushrooms, just a big cloud over it. Wow, what an effort by Mark Stock.
Stock, a 6th-round pick in '89 by the Steelers. 2nd down and short. Harbaugh with a fake. Goes to the left side. It's complete. Number 81, Marcus Pollard, the tight end. Anthony Davis on the tackle, along with Mark Collins, but the first catch for Marcus Pollard in just the 6th of the season picks up the 1st down for Indianapolis.
And again, Harbaugh has learned this offense so well. Waited and waited and waited, and there's always an outlet receiver in this offense. Found him over there on the sideline. This has been hard work for Lindy and Connie and his staff all season long.
A jigsaw puzzle he and his defensive coordinator Jim Johnson have put together. And on offense, they've been killed by injuries. Harbaugh back for the first time since missing a couple of games with a knee injury and handing off to Falk. And Falk quickly dragged down at the 38-yard line by Mark Collins. As we take a look at some of the other scores, Denver 24-12 lead on Oakland with 3:17 left in the 3rd quarter. And the Bengals leading Houston at the Astrodome.
Well, that would ruin Houston's year, wouldn't it, after their great start?
And a final, Dallas over the New England Patriots 12-6. So Dallas seems to get the big wins when the Cowboys need it. Colts need this win. 2nd down and 6. Harbaugh with time, and that is something he's had a lot of today. That offensive line up front has been doing a good job of protecting Harbaugh. He's only been sacked, I believe, once.
Yeah, pressured maybe a couple of times, you're right. And this is a remade offensive line. They lost 3 offensive linemen to free agency. And then with all the injuries, they've had to kind of move people around. Of course, Tony Mandarich
out of football for 4 years, and his career resurrected, and he's been going against Neil Smith for most of the afternoon. 3rd down and 6. Again, 5 wideouts for Harbaugh. Stands in, and he's got another man for a 1st down, and it's Aaron Bailey. Bailey spinning his way down to the Kansas City 32.
Aaron Bailey.
And this formation has made the Chiefs blitz. And every time today the Chiefs have blitzed against the Colts have beat it. Now again, watch the blitz. It takes a long time for everybody to get there. 50 is blocked well. Again, Harbaugh time stands in there looking for Aaron Bailey just on the crossing pattern. A little pick run. Brian Stabline knocks off Hasty. Harbaugh makes the completion, and another big play against this Kansas City defense.
They really picked up that blitz well. The Colts blockers up front. Harbaugh had time to get that one to Bailey. And he hands this one off to a spinning Cliff Gross, who's brought down by John Browning under the 7-minute mark.
He was tackled by John Browning.
Colts with a 17-13 lead.
And you know, I've seen the Indianapolis Colts several times this season. I don't know how they do this. I swear, I mean, no turnovers, very few penalties week in and week out, and they got 3 or 4 or 5 new starters in there. They don't make mistakes. They keep functioning as a unit. I mean, you can't give this coaching staff in Indianapolis enough credit for the job that they've done. He's going to have to take a timeout here.
Doesn't like the looks of this, and he'll take another timeout. And that is the 2nd one. So the Colts with just 1 remaining. They have been impressive the last 2 ball games. Win over Buffalo in overtime. Win over Philadelphia, holding both of those teams to 10. And so far, Kansas City only has 13 to the Colts 17. Well, it's gotten awfully quiet here on Arrowhead, Bob. Just can't help but think that the Kansas City fans still remember that jolting Colt win in the 1st round of the playoffs last year, and the Colts on the verge of perhaps trying to spoil Kansas City's season again. 2nd down and 7. Harbaugh's got another completion, and Cliff Gross has another catch for another Colt 1st down.
As to Cliff Gross.
Anthony Davis and Mark Collins combined to drag Gross down.
Watch the fullback again on the swing pattern way out in the flat. They run Harrison deep. He's in motion first through the line of scrimmage. He's wide open. Harrison even out there tries to help with, well, he kind of says, maybe I'll block. No, I won't. But continuing to drive the ball down the field. Another wonderful call by Lindy and Potty.
And another play by a player who's filled in for players who have been injured.
Right.
Or not on the team. Gross was on the practice squad most of last year. He's got a couple receptions for 19 yards. Marshall Faulk turns it up. And Faulk is close to another first down.
Man, how about that move? Did you see that? He had Pelham McDaniel 77 inside, James Hasty 40 outside. Watch this move when he gets right out about here. He looks like he's going outside. There's 77 on the inside. There's Hasty on it. Whoops.
That's that right foot with that right toe, too. Yeah. So it does look like it's getting better and better each game.
Very Marshall-like, that particular run right there. 67 yards on the day.
Second and short. A long one. Under 5 minutes left. Faulk will pick up the first down. It'll be first and goal, Indianapolis.
Yeah, now Kansas City's got 3 timeouts left here. 1, the defense has got to hold them to 3 points again. 2, they got to start using those timeouts. Marty's got a lot to consider here. 4:35, 4:34. This is a team, you were talking about that playoff loss last year. You know, they were 13-3.
8-0 at home.
Yeah, had the week off and then get just absolutely just shocked by the Indianapolis Colts.
And Marty and all the players downplay it, but it's been talked a lot here in the local media in Kansas City. Cliff Gross gets the call on a play that really never developed.
Gross on the carry. He was tackled by Neil Smith.
And a timeout.
Marty Schottenheimer wants a timeout.
Carl Peterson wants another defensive stop by Kansas City. General manager.
They got the timeout. That's the defense job in this situation. You want to leave the offense with some time.
A lot of speculation, Bob, as to where Carl Peterson will be next year. His contract will expire. He's put together a great franchise here in Kansas City, but still really hasn't even begun the negotiations, which is a little bit perplexing to some folks.
Well, he and Marty Schottenheimer took a heck of a chance this year. Off a 13-3 record last year, they kept 46 of 53 players. They didn't bring in any free agents. They kept what they had. And it was a gamble. And I think if their receivers had not gotten hurt, it might have been a good gamble. But it's really made it tough on the Kansas City Chiefs as they're trying to get the correct personnel in there. But they're very smart here in using the timeouts defensively.
Well, Marty Schottenheimer's record has been so impressive, but the playoff record not as impressive. 5-10 in the postseason. Second down and goal from the 5. Harbaugh turning to his left and just throwing this one out of bounds. That was a play from an experienced player. Avoided the pressure, the potential sack, and just threw it away.
Just a 4-man rush, too. I'm not sure what they're trying to do. They have 2 tight ends in the lineup. Decent protection. And then you see finally Browning puts pressure on Harbaugh, and you're right. He wants his team with another opportunity. Not going to throw it foolishly down there for a turnover. But the downside is clock stops. That helps the Chiefs.
Stops with 3:52 to go. This is a big third down and goal from the 5. If Kansas City can hold Indianapolis to a field goal, and who else but Marvin Harrison for the touchdown. His 3rd of the game. And he was wide open.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that there shouldn't have been a flag thrown on the pick. Colts ran a beautiful pick to spring Harrison wide open out in the flat.
And that puts Harrison over 100 yards on just 6 catches. 2 back-to-back 100-yard receiving games for the rookie out of Syracuse. And it's turned into a long afternoon for Peterson and the Chiefs.
But they're still in the playoff picture. But now they're win or sit and wait. Win next week and wait.
And Blanchard comes on to tack on the extra point.
And if we go back to the play, this is beautifully executed by the Colts. But here's Harrison coming in motion, a fake upfield, and then this guy kind of right here kind of gets caught in the wash. And you're going to see when Harrison breaks out, there is nobody there to cover him whatsoever. And that's all designed to just create traffic for the guy covering Harrison. And you can see it's done beautifully. Wide open. Second straight 100-yard receiving day for Marvin Harrison.
His 8th on the season. And captain comeback with another touchdown pass. For Harbaugh, that is his 12th on the season, and all Marty Schottenheimer can do is shake his head and maybe start. Now it's too early, but you know the fans here thinking about, oh, now we got to go to Rich Stadium, take on the Buffalo Bills, a team that they have not had a good history with, especially at that venue.
Although there are a few teams that have a good history against the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo.
Especially in December. Impressive day for Harrison. And even more so for the Colts. If they can hold on, it will be their 4th win in their last 5 games. The last 3 in a row would come against Buffalo, Philadelphia, and at Kansas City. Guidaki gets into it. Van over, see if he can get another kickoff return, set up the Chiefs again. Across the 25, brought down at the 30-yard line. Brought down by Elijah Alexander. Well, next Sunday, more exciting NFL action on NBC. It all starts at 12 noon Eastern with the NFL on NBC, and then most of you will see the Chiefs take on those Buffalo Bills, and some of you will see these Colts travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. So the Colts keeping their playoff hopes alive with a potential victory here today with 3:38 remaining. Others will see the Raiders host the Seahawks or the Steelers square off against the Panthers. That's the NFL on NBC next Sunday at 12 noon Eastern time. As you look at Marcus Allen, you can't help but again think about his comments about how his team has really lacked the focus, and there's lacking the focus. Kimball Anders juggling that.
But that was poorly thrown by Steve Bono. And the injury to Rich Gannon, Bono is the quarterback now for the rest of the season. You can't recover from a strained hamstring that quickly. But again,
well,
thrown low.
Yeah.
Thrown low. I mean, that's, you hope that a quarterback 7 yards down the field can hit the guy between the numbers. There's Gannon on the sideline right there. Strained hamstring.
Those are his numbers before leaving midway through the second quarter, and it's been Steve Bono's team ever since. As you mentioned, Trump, probably for the remainder of the season. This time Anders hangs on.
Get out of bounds.
It's right upfield. Gets some pretty good extra yardage. But the clock does continue to roll. 3:20.
You need time in this situation. Down 24-13. You don't fight for inches. You try to save seconds.
See the timeout situation. Chiefs still with a couple, but trailing by 11. And Anders has it again into Colt territory, close to the first down.
Now see, the Colts are going to give the Chiefs the receptions in the middle of the field.
And Marty calls a timeout.
Make them use the timeouts.
Timeout. Kansas City.
Anders has 6 catches for 80 yards.
30 seconds timeout.
And we'll remind you of NBC's lineup tonight. All new night of Christmas comedy, starting with all new Christmas episodes of Third Rock and Boston Common. Then Paul Hogan, stars of the network premiere Western comedy Lightning Jack. The all new comedy starts tonight right after Dateline here on NBC.
Oh, look at that stadium, Arrowhead Stadium. Man, they're on I-70 heading home at 4:35.
Well, that loss on Monday night really hurt this club.
Yeah, if they lose today, that'll be 5 losses in, what is it, 7 weeks for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Colts will have won 4 of their last 5 if things continue this way. That's the way the Chiefs had it pictured.
Colts are at Cincinnati next Sunday. A flag comes in as Bono connects again with Anders. Anders picks up the first down, but we'll wait and hear the call from Tom White. Clock stops, 2:45 to go. Indy on top, 24-13.
And again, I don't know how the Indianapolis Colts have done this. I seriously
it is
do
amazing.
not know. Yeah,
it is.
7 yards on play.
They win. Let's hear the call here.
Offsides. Number 56 defense. Line up in the neutral zone. Penalty is declined. First down.
Chiefs will decline the penalty on Tony Bennett, pick up the first down, but it has been a masterful job by Lindy Infante since he took over for Ted Marchibroda.
What I was going to say was they won 2 games when Harbaugh was out with Paul Justin, who played in Arena Football League, the World Football League. You name a league, he's played in it. And then last week when Justin gets hurt, Kerwin Bell comes in.
Takes his first NFL snaps.
And goes 5 for 5 in the NFL.
Leads the team to 2 scores on 2 consecutive possessions. Doesn't matter who the Colts put out there, they just produce. Keith Cash with the reception. As we get closer to the 2-minute warning, Bono trying to hurry it up. Carl wants to hurry him up as well. The Colt 36, second down and 5. Bono looks right, goes left. LaChapelle with a nice move. Now he tries to get out of bounds.
And does.
Stops the clock, 2:12. Nice play by LaChapelle. This team really has missed the services of Lake Dawson, though.
Yeah, and also the injury to Vanover, where he gained a little weight, kind of lost all of the sense he had of the offense when he was out with the cracked ribs.
There is Vanover.
But he had the big kickoff return that almost got the Chiefs back in it.
72 yards. He was the only player in the league to score on punt return, kickoff return, and a reception last year, but he has been slowed a little by the injuries this year. Bono gets decked as he got rid of it. Applying the hit was number 53, Sammy Burroughs, free agent rookie out of Portland State.
Well, Burroughs is untouched, too. You're going to see him come absolutely clean. Bono does a great job of just getting the ball off. He's just throwing the thing away.
2nd and 10.
Did it seem to you that Steve Bono was a little bit in shock when he came off the bench today in the middle of the second quarter? It just seemed like the Gannon injury happened such in a hurry, and for a guy that normally is the starter, it just didn't seem like he was geared into coming in.
And now they need Bono. Now the rest of the season in the playoff picture rides on Bono's shoulders.
Well, Bono steps up this time, and not able to make the catch was Chris Penn. As we have reached the 2-minute warning in Kansas City. Chiefs trail by 11. Look at your MVP for the Colts, Trump.
Stock and Marvin Harrison. The tackle, the only time we called Mark Stock's name all day. Harrison's 3 touchdown receptions.
Kansas City trying to make it interesting on 3rd down. Bono steps up, fires, and off the mark. That was Keith Cash again. And that will bring up 4th down. Well, following the conclusion of this game, we will be sending you to Denver for the end of the Broncos-Raiders game. Denver out in front 24-12, so hang on for that. 1:55 remaining in this one.
Well, you know, Dan, Kansas City's got some rebuilding to do. That is confidence. Steve Bono to go to Buffalo next week and make it hopefully a trip to the playoffs with a win. They've got some major ego rebuilding to do here in this week.
Well, there'll be some nervous Chief fans watching it in Kansas City. Bono trying to keep their hopes alive. And that LaChapelle with a brilliant catch to keep it alive. He has come up with some key receptions for Kansas City this season.
Yeah, you always see this kid stretched out too, don't you? Watch that second foot. Possession, second foot in. Doesn't get much better than that. And Diedrich Mathis there in coverage. That's beautifully done by LaChapelle. All that practice he had in the World League, you know, their most valuable player in that league last spring.
Set the World League record with over 1,000 receiving yards. Kansas City with a drive alive. 1st and 10, just outside the 10. Bono goes down at the 10. Clock rolling, 1:42 and counting. Chiefs with 1 timeout left. Bono will try to hurry his team to the line. 5-yard line to Anders. Well, if Kansas City can get a touchdown here, go for 2, be within a field goal and an onside kick, it's a lot to ask for. But
are we going to finish today with all that stuff you're talking about?
As you take a look at some of the other scores, there's that Denver score we alluded to. The Broncos trying to hold on and rebound after that lopsided loss at Green Bay, and Cincinnati pouring it on the Houston Oilers. Cardinals have come back against the Redskins.
What's happened to the Redskins?
Cowboys gets a big win at home over the Patriots. San Francisco is really in command of that game with the Steelers throughout. Carolina 11-4.
That's pretty remarkable, isn't it?
Second-year team.
I mean, they win the division, the NFC West. Is that confirmed yet? San Francisco beat Pittsburgh, but that's amazing. Second year in existence.
3rd down and 4 to go.
Blitz.
Bono gets rid of it, and they have the touchdown to Kimball Anders, but a flag is down at the 2-yard line.
There's a penalty flag down.
Tom White quickly conferring with his line judge. And here we go.
Holding. Defense.
Touchdown.
Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
So now you go for 2.
All right, let's see. 21 and a field goal ties it. Or do you go for the extra point? You're right. I think you got to
go for 2.
Yeah.
Onside kick, try to get the field goal, and hopefully miraculously send it into overtime. And it's no surprise that Marcus Allen is the deep back. And it's no surprise he gets it, but the Colts right there, that was Jason Belser.
Jim Johnson certainly proud of his defense in their job today. Again, a couple of linebackers go down. They put other guys in there and things work. You're going to see the reception right here. It's a halfback circle. And the Colts come with they blitz everybody but the head coach. It's well picked up. And Kimball Anders over Diedrich Mathis for the touchdown, and this wasn't even close. This two-point conversion. The handoff to Marcus Allen. He's met in the backfield by Jason Belser. And of course, big tackle for Jason Belser. He's got 30 members of his family here. Grew up here in Kansas City. Dad played for Kansas City.
Went to high school here. A star at Raytown South for the Cardinals.
This upcoming is the best play in football. Onside kick. Absolutely the best play in football.
Well, now Kansas City will need a touchdown. Field goal won't get it done as they are down by 5. But Louis Aguiar.
I love this play. There's never been a boring onside kick. You know that?
Kind of reminds me of the penalty shot in hockey, the free shot in hockey.
This is a 22-man jump ball.
Minute 17 left. Kansas City with the onside kick. Pops up pretty nicely. Whoa. The ball is loose.
They got it.
And Kansas City has it.
Davis, the linebacker, recovered it.
Anthony Davis, number 50, comes up with it for the Chiefs. And they do have a breath of life with a minute 13 left, although they are out of timeouts.
Well, that's all right, but you've painted the 2 of the 3 parts here. They got the touchdown. They do get the onside kick. This bounces off 2 players. I mean, one there, and then off Belser, 29, who just made the tackle.
Great shot at it.
Yep. Anthony Davis on the recovery.
So Infante sweats this one out. Ball squarely at midfield.
And you want to be a football coach, huh? Just another day at the office for these 2 gentlemen.
Plenty of time left, even without the timeouts. Minute 13 for Bono. Trying to pull it out of the fire for Kansas City. 4 wideouts. Bono steps up, delivers it. The pass is complete to Tamarik Vanover.
I think that's his first catch of the day.
Second catch.
Second
for Vanover.
He runs a great pattern. They're going to give him soft coverage here. Runs the out. Diedrich Mathis again in coverage. Comes back for the football. Why can't you throw it to him more often?
Clock running, under 50 seconds left. From the 37. Bono pass complete. Tight roping is LaChapelle. And he's down to the 11-yard line. Clock continues to roll. Bono hurries him up. We'll see the spike. You can see the Chiefs.
We got an injured player. We got an injured player here.
It is Eugene Daniel down. Or is he faking it? Now he pops right back up. And Bono spikes it.
Who missed the tackle? LaChapelle makes the catch. The defender for the Colts is expecting him to go out of bounds. And he continues to run down the sideline. Somebody from the Colts gave up on the play. I could not pick out who it was. We're going to see here. Out to the right. It's 40 McElroy. He thinks he's going out of bounds.
Look at LaChapelle tightrope down. And that is Eugene Daniel.
Oh, McElroy.
24-19, 23 seconds left. Kansas City took over after recovering the onside kick and now has it at the Colt 11-yard line.
There's McElroy. He gave up on the play. Watch again. Now watch LaChapelle's feet. But you can see McElroy just give up. And LaChapelle does a great job of staying in bounds. I mean, that's as close as you can get. He looked like a tightrope walker there. One of the, I think they were called the Wallenses. The
Wallendas.
Wallendas, close enough.
That was LaChapelle doing the tightrope act down the sidelines. He has been impressive today. 6 catches, 70 yards for LaChapelle.
And I had Kansas City buried out of here. What are they going to do a minute and a half ago?
From the 11, second down and 10. Bono lofting it up, incomplete. That was Chris Penn in the end zone. Clock stops, 18 seconds. Field goal will not get it done. Kansas City needs the touchdown.
This is when you're glad to have a coach on the sideline calling the plays. Paul Hackett upstairs is trying to make stuff up here to get the ball in the end zone. A win by Kansas City, and they're in the playoffs.
Third down. Again 10 from the 11. Bono buying some time, throwing it out of bounds. And again, that was LaChapelle. 13 seconds to go. Fourth down. This is the play.
What are they, 3 or 4 on fourth downs? They're 3 of 3 on fourth downs. Kansas City is today. Now the number we get is 2 of 4, but no, they've had 3 fourth downs converted.
So with 13 seconds left, this is the play for Kansas City. Bono to the end zone, incomplete. Danon Hughes, the intended receiver.
Pass is incomplete, intended for Danon Hughes.
And the Colts take over on downs, and that should do it with 9 seconds to go.
Well, they made it exciting.
What a disappointing loss for the Chiefs, who again have to head to Buffalo with their playoff hopes still on the line. This was the last gasp effort to Hughes.
This is just a simple square out, and there's good coverage.
He had a chance at that.
Yeah, Diedrich Mathis is there again. We've called Diedrich Mathis' name a lot. They're looking for a flag, any kind of interference of any sort, but Colts win.
The Indianapolis Colts will move to 9-6. Kansas City will fall to 9-6. Harbaugh will take the knee. Kansas City defenseless to stop the clock, out of timeouts. And what an impressive victory for Lindy Infante and Indianapolis. They win it by a final score of 24-19. They win their 3rd game in a row. The first one coming against Buffalo. Then they beat the Eagles, knowing that their playoff hopes were on the line, that they needed to squeeze out victories. And then they come into Arrowhead Stadium, one of the most difficult venues in the NFL, and they knock off the Chiefs 24-19. How do you explain it?
I don't know. They've continued to do it. This is a team that just does not give up on itself. You have to beat the Indianapolis Colts. They seldom beat themselves. And again, huge plays by the Indianapolis Colts is the plus side. The downside for Kansas City is they continue to give up big plays.
Well, this is what we know right now. This is the wild card race up to the minute. Kansas City at 9-6. Indianapolis also at 9-6. Buffalo has the Monday night game in Miami. And again, the Chiefs will head to Buffalo for their final regular season game, still not with a playoff spot clinched.
It might still come down to a coin flip somewhere.
So the final 24-19. So for Bob Trumpy, I'm Dan Hicks saying so long from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. We're going to send you to Mile High Stadium to join Dick Enberg, Phil Simms, and Paul McGuire for the conclusion of the Raiders versus the Broncos. The Colts win it here in Kansas City. Let's send you to Denver.
Those of you who have seen the Colts win at Kansas City.